Welcome to Horror Rewind. This is Kelly Florence.
And I'm Meg Hofdahl.
And today we're talking about A Quiet Place 2. Meg, did you like it? We haven't talked about it yet.
I know, we've been holding it in, not talking. So, I am really glad that I watched the first one again. It was my third time watching it, but I watched it the night before, and I think that it just helped kind of like, I don't know, make it a little bit more pleasing to watch the second one, and it kind of held the emotion even more. I watched it the night before with Dexter. He wanted to see it, and he had a lot of questions, and it was kind of fun to see that world from his perspective, because he was like, you know, thinking of all the things. Like, he was like, what if you snore while you're sleeping? Like, he had all these kind of cool concepts with the world, and so that was fun. And then we went and saw the second one, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it had just as much emotion as the first one, and action and tense scares, and I really liked it. What about you?
Yeah, I liked it too, and I like that it started off like with a prequel, and we got to see sort of this inciting incident of what this family went through and how they immediately dealt with the aftermath. And I appreciated seeing John Krasinski on screen.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
And then I like that it was like, it wasn't just them at the house, you know, again, or whatever. It took this new direction. We got some new characters. I really enjoyed it. Now, I saw critics say that they liked it, but they think John Krasinski telegraphs too much in his directing with signposts. And that didn't bother me, because as a communication teacher, when I teach speech writing, you need to use signposts to let your audience know a little bit where you are in the story and what's about to happen, because not everybody's going to be able to follow. Even if you're the best speechwriter, you have to use signposts.
What kind of signposts are you talking about?
Like, you have to say, there's just a little bit of a hint, a little bit of foreshadowing. And they were saying, no, there was too much foreshadowing. Like, I don't know. It didn't bother me.
I see what you mean. Okay. Well, I think it was done in sort of a classic way that, again, we have to remember how experimental this movie is. Like, the first one is so experimental in no sound, and so I think he has to kind of rely on some of these kind of classic things, because he is doing different things, right? So it's like, if you go too far one way, yeah, you are going to kind of miss out on what's happening.
And I appreciated it, and I really appreciated the sequence at the end, or near the end, when it was like parallel stories and it just kept cutting back and forth. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, I loved it. I thought it, you know, I think what resonates with these movies is the emotion and the characters. And oh my gosh, the end when the boy and the girl are both having their moment, and especially the boy, that one really, like, because the girl, and I'm sorry,
Millicent Simmons,
but I don't know
the real name.
I don't know what her name is on the...
They
don't use the names very often.
Well, because they don't speak.
Yeah. So, the sister, she'd already kind of had this, you know, bravery, and she already got to sort of explore, you know, how she wanted to be like her father. But the brother didn't. And he was always kind of put in the more traditional feminine role of taking care of the baby, which I thought was interesting. So I liked how he had that moment at the end where he protected his mom and his baby brother. I thought that was so cool, and it just, like, felt so, like, yes, I love that. And then juxtaposed with her doing it, and not only saving her family, but probably saving everyone on that island, and maybe now, you know, when I'm assuming there'll be a third movie, she's going to save the world.
Right. No, I thought it was great, and it was this your... No, this wasn't your first movie back. You went to see Spiral first.
I did, but no one was in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
So this was my first movie where there actually were other people in the theater, and it was the kind of movie that was so... We saw it on an IMAX screen, and it was just so, like, epic, and all the action and everything. It just was like, oh, this is why I love going to the movies. Yeah, I agree. I loved the beginning. I really like seeing what happened, and how things were normal and then they weren't. And I know Dexter was like, oh, I knew it was aliens. So I really like that. And Oh my gosh, the scene where they're running and the brother gets his foot caught in the bear trap. Dexter looked right at me and he goes, I thought this was PG-13. He felt like that was rated R territory. But that was so upsetting. It was like, oh my God, and what's going to happen now? Because the stakes are so high, because it's like there's no doctor and this mom is alone and she doesn't have, another adult to help her. And, oh my gosh. I just felt like sometimes you see sequels and they don't feel like they flesh out the world more. Like, it didn't really feel necessary. But this movie felt like it fleshed out the world and fleshed out the characters, which is what a good sequel is supposed to do.
Exactly. And, like, any sort of loose ends, like, who's starting the fire over there? Like, 'cause that was a big theme in the first movie, is, like, starting that fire and, like, seeing who else is out there. That came back into play. And that was really cool, because it's like, yeah, there's other survivors, and so what are we going to do? How are we going to work together? And it's almost like, I mean, any post-apocalyptic, like, zombie movie or whatever, are people going to help you, or are they going to just be out for themselves? And, I always think that that's pretty fascinating, because we don't know until we're in a situation. Like, are you looking out for yourself or your own, or are you going to put yourself out there for other people?
Yeah. Yeah, and it had a lot of elements that a lot of post-apocalyptic movies have, where it was like, here's the island where everybody is like, has electricity and they are having a cookout and they can talk, and then there are the people on the dock who like are evil and they are just out for themselves, and so there were all those kinds of elements, but you have those core characters that you love and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. And I think that the first movie set up death as being something that is going to happen, with the little boy dying right away at the beginning, and then also with John Krasinski dying. So everything just feels like the stakes are so high and you could lose any of these characters at any moment, And I like that, and I just feel like the world is so fully realized.
No, I agree. I wanted to give you a few facts. Currently, it is 90% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Did John Krasinski write this one as well?
Yeah, he did, actually. I saw that when it ended. That he did
write it and direct it. So
yeah,
good for him. We wrote about A Quiet Place, the first movie, in our book, The Science of Women in Horror. And we talk a little bit about everything about the movie, but one of the interesting facts from the book, Millicent Simmons, thank God John Krasinski said, he stuck to his guns and he said, I am going to cast a deaf actress in this role. And so that's what we need on screen, is more representation, accurate representation. And so that's amazing. But it's not a fun fact, it's a fact. 5% of the world experiences some sort of hearing loss. And by 2050, 1 in every 10 people on the planet will have debilitating hearing loss.
Why is it like growing? Like, why are we ruining our ears with
You're
going
to
to
have to read the book and find out.
Apparently this isn't our book, and it warned me, and I already read it, and I was like, whatever. I'm just going to keep listening to my AirPods, my true crime podcast at full volume.
Why do you need people shouting in your ears, Meg? But isn't that interesting?
That is interesting. And so, I mean, what if our world was a quiet place? And I love the idea. This is something that, I get so jacked about, is like what's perceived as her weakness beforehand gets to be her strength now. And I freaking love that. I love that she has kind of unlocked this code with the help of her dead father to save the world. And oh my gosh. And the fact that she's deaf. I also like the interplay between her and, is it Cillian or Killian?
I think it's Killian.
Cillian Murphy. I love the interplay of, like, he doesn't know how to talk to somebody who's deaf, and she has to, like, say, enunciate and, like, look at me when you're talking and stuff, because I thought that was very realistic. And the whole dive thing, when he told her to dive, I have chills. It was so good. I thought everything was really well done, and maybe there was foreshadowing, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that in a movie like this. That's like I said, it's different in so many ways that it kind of feels good to have that classic horror, does this door lock by itself, and are you going to get stuck in here,
Yeah. No, like I said, I love it, and I don't think it sometimes, and I'm not going to name examples, but sometimes you watch movies like, okay, come on, this is way heavy-handed and too obvious. I didn't feel that way.
No, I didn't either. I mean, you definitely are like, oh, okay. I mean, there is a reason that you have to show a gun being set down sometimes. It's just like when I'm writing fiction and it's like you have to say, sometimes those things are logistical and you have to do it. And it's not because you think your audience is stupid. It's because you think your audience is smart and you want to give them a few little, like, tidbits.
Also, isn't it the worst when, some movies, they don't give you anything and then you see the character has figured it out and you still don't know.
Right.
I hate that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, you want your audience to know how smart they are. So I think they did a great job. I think the emotion and the acting and everything was so good. And I personally, if they would be silly if they don't like money, I guess they wouldn't make a third movie. But they made a ton of money this weekend. Yeah. So I could see a third movie where, now the sister is probably aging up pretty fast. It's like the Stranger Things kids. They just like get old so fast. But I could see a pretty cool movie in the future. Too.
I agree. I'll go back and watch Quiet Place 3.
Yeah, for sure.
Injected in my veins.
Yeah.
Now, I need to ask the real question. Since it's been so long since you've been to the movies, you've been twice now in the past few weeks, but have your tastes changed of where you like to sit in the theater or what you like to get for your snacks? Like, have you changed over the past year?
Maybe in that I was stricter before and not getting popcorn, but now I'm like, it's the movies, I gotta get popcorn. I'll probably go back to trying not to eat too much, because, it's good, but it's something you probably shouldn't have every week. But I personally, as I'm getting older, I like to sit further and further back. I don't know what that is. It's just like a mom thing.
No, I don't like anybody being behind me.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, you guys, let's sit like all the way back. And Luke and Dexter were like, no, like that's so lame. But I so in the future when we go together, I like to sit right in the back like my mom used to.
I'm always top row corner because then nobody's walking by us to go to the bathroom.
Right, that too. And I don't know. There's something like even just thinking about it right now, I don't like somebody breathing down my back or like the thought of somebody putting their feet on my headrest or something.
No, I get it. So my thing is too, like if you have been to my movie theater, which you have, there's a bar in it and obviously everything's really expensive. It's like $13 for a beer. But so before it's like, well, no, we're not going to do that. But I'm like, we have to support the movie theater. So I'm like, I'm going to go buy a beer. And this is expensive. But also I'm tipping well because the last time I was there, I noticed the guys ahead of me didn't tip.
Oh, boo.
Like tip your people.
Well, the only reason I don't like having beer at the movies is I feel like it makes me have to go pee.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why I try not to, Well, it's funny because when we got there, we just got one thing to drink out of and we gave it to Dexter and he made the most disgusting concoction of like mixing like lemonade and all that. And so Luke's like, I'm gonna go back and get another cup for us so we can have some Pepsi or whatever. But I did have some popcorn these both times that I went. I missed it.
I know. It's good.
And I got Milk Duds the first time, too.
Oh,
That's
wow.
like
you were really living.
And Milk Duds. I was like, come on now.
Now, do you pour the Milk Duds inside the popcorn?
No. Here's why. Luke eats the popcorn so fast that it's like all the Milk Duds would be gone.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So I kind of like parse them out myself.
Now, I don't know if we had the same previews, but did you see the new preview for that M. Night Shyamalan movie called Old?
No, I saw like the teaser a while back. I haven't actually seen the trailer, and I was very crabby actually because we only got one horror trailer and there were like 6 action trailers.
What?
And I'm like, what are you doing? I want more horror trailers. So how did the Old look?
Oh, it looks very good. I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
And I can't think of the actor's name now, but the guy from Hereditary is in it. So
Alex Wolff.
There we go.
I assume you mean.
Yeah.
Not Gabriel Byrne.
No. And
cool.
That looks really good. And I can't remember. Well, I think we had the Conjuring trailer and I don't remember. But
we had like a Ryan Reynolds action movie with Bruce Willis. We had the Fast and the Furious, like 11,000. We had like a bunch of action movies. I'm like, who are they talking to? Not me.
I don't know. But we do have some good horror coming out, so I'm excited for that, and we're gonna keep on going to the theater.
I've been waiting for Candyman for like.
Oh yes.
That's what I'm most excited about. I probably have hyped it up too much in my head now, but
I think it's okay.
You think it has room to be hyped up?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be fine.
Okay.
Okay, so before
Okay.
we talk about other things, let's rank A Quiet Place 2 on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being you hated it, 10 being you think it's a perfect movie. What's the scale? What's like the perfect scale from A Quiet Place 2?
Oh boy. I mean, I want to think of something specific to the second movie because I was gonna say like her
earpiece.
thing.
I know. I thought that too.
Um.
Oh my God! Like when they he's in the store and they like show the rocket that's gonna fall and make the noise later and everything that kills the child. Like holy crap! Like that killed me.
I know.
It's so good.
And then she leaves her wedding ring on the thing. Oh. It's so sad.
I know, it's so
John
sweet.
Krasinski, don't be dead.
I know. Why?
Okay, how about the bear trap? Because that part was brutal.
And it's akin to like her giving birth in the first movie. It's like this horrific pain, and can you possibly be quiet?
Yeah, and he of course is struggling.
Yeah.
Poor
thing. God. Okay, so how many bear traps do you give A Quiet Place to?
You know, at first I was gonna give it 9 because I was like, well, I don't know if it's a perfect movie, but I think I'm gonna give it 10 because I can't even think of a reason to give it 9. Like I was gonna like dock it down, but I mean it's female driven. It was scary, intense. I felt like I had the roller coaster of emotions I want when I go to the movie theater.
You know, you're exactly right. Because I too was gonna be like, well, is it an 8? Is it a 9? But then I'm like, why am I pretending I had a great time?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's a 10. I'm giving it 10 bear traps, but I don't want my foot in a bear trap.
No, me neither. Oh my gosh. Literally Dexter just has tears in his eyes and he's like, this movie is supposed to be PG-13.
No.
I'm like, you know what I realized though? I think these are good movies for kids who are into horror. There's no swearing, I noticed, because there's barely any talking.
There's like not sex and boobs.
There's no sex and boobs. So I think it's a good like, you know, PG-13 horror movie for if your kids are a little bit older and interested.
I agree. Now, what else have we been watching?
Boy.
Well, Meg, I watched the movie that you told me to watch, and I won't give any spoilers away because I want y'all to go watch it, but I watched The Power, which you recommended to me in another episode maybe that hasn't aired yet. Doesn't matter. And it was really good, so I recommend that. And then I recommended one to you that you haven't watched yet, but it's okay. It's called The Vigil, and it's on Hulu. So
I've only heard good things about it, and to be honest, I get a little nervous about any sort of religious horror. Is that how?
But
you
it's not.
describe
Yeah,
it?
but I wouldn't say it's religious. I mean, it has to do with the religious ceremony of watching sitting with a dead body, but it doesn't have to do with religion.
Okay. Because sometimes, I mean, and I end up liking some like that too, but sometimes, like, you know, there's just certain things really, I don't know. But okay, I trust you. I trust you.
And so now my non-horror recommendation of the week. Do you have any idea what I'm going to say, Meg?
I have a clue.
Everyone go watch Bo Burnham, his new special, Inside. He has next leveled himself like times 12. It is beyond. It is mature. It is thoughtful. It is thought-provoking. And it is, it's like watching a man's catharsis and journey to get through quarantine and discover his journey through comedy and just dealing with, being a straight white man.
Yeah, it's I've always enjoyed Bo Burnham. I think he's really funny and talented, but I felt like this was like the zenith of anything Bo Burnham I've seen, because he really goes inside himself, and like I said, I felt like this was him creating for himself, and that's like always the best kind of content, is when people are creating not for others but for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's really good, and again, it kind of has that word experimental, but it's it's so, I don't know, it was so engrossing. Like, I couldn't look away.
And if just for a little factoid, he shot it himself. He wrote it all. Oh my goodness, was that
A
a
Post-it
sign?
note just fell.
I wonder what it's a sign. He edited it, like the lighting design, the projections, like it's down to every detail. And a lot of times it's messy in there, and like you were saying, oh no, if I was filming this, I'd want to clean it up. But it's purposeful. And then when it's not messy, like during the White Woman Instagram, like it's completely clean and perfect. And so every single thing is purpose. And I just thought, what an auteur.
Yes, he is. He's really, really talented. I'm excited for him to do more like fiction movies, like Eighth Grade.
Yeah. And so I think too, like he brings to the forefront his struggles with mental health and anxiety and panic attacks and depression. And if your Netflix does what ours did, it like immediately wants to give you the preview to Dirty John. But stay tuned if you can, because it gives a nice thing about suicide prevention and awareness. And I think that's really important. And we always want to bring that to the forefront of our, the things that we're in part of, is just like, let's get the stigma out of here and talk about these things so that everybody can feel like it's a safe space.
I agree. And I feel like the horror community is really doing a good job of not only thinking about things like trigger warnings, but also being inclusive and diverse, and not just, about people's sexual orientation or their skin color, but also about neurodiversity and mental health, and discussing it and being honest about it. And I think that a lot of people, myself included, who are drawn to horror are often looking for a comfort through anxiety, and horror has helped them through anxiety or depression. And so that's what I absolutely love about it, is that it can provide that it's sort of paradoxical, because you'd think horror would make people anxious, but for people like me, it makes me feel better.
Yes, it's like this meme that's going around on Twitter or whatever. It's like your comfort watch. And it's like, and horror fans be like, and it's like 4 horrific pictures, but it's true.
Yeah, for some reason there's probably nostalgia there, and maybe that's why, but I'm not going to try to deconstruct why. All I know is that I love horror, and it helps me through my anxiety.
No, I agree. And so speaking of inclusivity, happy Pride Month. I'm currently wearing the shirt that Meg got me, and she's got one too, that says, "Make horror gay AF." And where is this from?
Horror Oasis. And it's just a great reminder to be, inclusive as creators.
Yes.
That's what I like about it.
I saw 2 days ago that Fangoria's, right away on June 1st, their Pride shirts sold out pretty quickly.
I saw that. It was really cool tie-dye. That was really pretty.
So yay, horror fans. I'm proud of all of us.
Yes, and if you got the chance to go see A Quiet Place 2 in the theater, we'd love to hear what you think. Or if you're staying at home and watching horror movies, tell us what we should be watching or talking about.
Yes, and so also a reminder, if you happen to be in the New York City vicinity, on Tuesday, June 15th, come out and see us at Caveat, 7 p.m. We're going to be talking about our latest books.
Yeah, we'll have a Q&A after. There's going to be drinks. I mean, I don't know how else, if that doesn't get you there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Horror, science, drinks, and we're going to sign books. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So, yes, everybody have a great week, and until next time, we'll see you in the horror section.
Bye.